Friends, so today we are going to discuss second unit, part 1. Second unit is solutions. So we'll be discussing about different methods of expressing the concentrations of solutions. Now first of all, let us discuss what solution is. Solutions are homogeneous mixtures of two or more pure substances. In a solution, the solute is dispersed uniformly throughout the solvent. Now see, you can see this table. It depends on the state of solvent and state of solute, that what will be the state of a solution formed, because we are going to mix a solute and solvent and then solution will be formed. Now when gas and gas combines, then resultant is again gas. So you can take one example like air. When certain solid combines with solid, when some solid solvent combines with solid solute, then resultant solution is also solid, just like silver in gold. Okay. Now for solutions, how does a solid dissolves into a liquid? What drives the dissolution process? What are the energetics of dissolution? Now this solute plus solvent which forms solution, in this particular process we have to study these three things: how does a solid dissolves, what is the driving force, and what is the energetic involved. Now how does a solution form? Okay, now see, there are three basic steps. First is solvent molecules attracted to surface ions. So solvent molecules, they get attracted towards the surface ions. Okay, then what happens? Each ion gets surrounded by solvent molecules. Okay, now during this process certain enthalpy change is also there. Because of interactions, few are broken, few are formed. So these three things happen whenever an ionic solid is dissolved in water. Okay, from this diagram you can see that this is ionic substance. So what is happening? This ionic substance is broken and then ions are surrounded by solvent molecules. So this is the procedure. Now solvent molecules attracted to surface ions, each ion is surrounded by solvent molecules. Enthalpy changes with each interaction, broken or formed. This is just repetition. We just want to see that this is ionic compound in which there is compact structure. So these all ions, they will break down and then individual ions will be surrounded by solvent molecules. Okay. Now when this process is occurring, what happens? Each ion gets surrounded by solvent molecules. Now suppose we have taken solvent as water, then we will use word hydrated. Okay, ions will get hydrated if it is positive ion. If it is positive ion, then that particular portion of the polar solvent which is negatively charged, that will be attracted towards this, that will get attached with this. Similarly, if it is negatively charged ion, then a positive part of the solvent will be attracted towards this. So this way they will be formed. Okay. Now what are the energy changes involved? Now during the whole process, during the formation of solution, what is the total energy change? That can be calculated in 3 steps by the use of 3 steps. First is delta H1, which is separation of solvent molecules. This is solute molecule which are compact, having attachments with each other. Now first of all they will be detached, means they will separate from each other. Then Second energy change is separation of solvent molecules. Solvent molecules are also not farther, so they will move farther so that there is formation of holes. Okay, so that there is formation of holes. Why this is required? So that it can accommodate solute particles. Okay, now we are having this. Now we are having separated solute particles and solvent molecules with holes. These two will combine and there will be formation of solution. This is the solution. So this way this process occurs. Now here we can see properly. What we have to do is we have to mix solvent and solute and solution will be formed. Okay, solvent and solute will be mixed to form solution. Now what happens? In the first step, solute breaks down into solute particles. In the second step, solvent breaks down into separated solvent particles. Now these combine to form solution. Okay, now if we see, energy of solvent plus solute was this at this level, solution energy is at this level, total energy of solution is less, total energy of this mixture was more. So there is negative value of delta H. So it means there is release of energy and the reaction will be termed as exothermic. Similarly, for this case, when total energy of solvent plus solute is more, total energy of solution is less, then some energy will be required and this reaction will be termed as endothermic. Okay. Now let us summarize this. So enthalpy of solution, enthalpy change of solution is equal to sum total of these three energies. Okay, in three steps which was used. So we have to take the sum total, then we will find out the total enthalpy change during the solution formation. So if we see in this way, for magnesium sulfate it is negative value. So this process or dissolution of magnesium sulfate in water is exothermic. For ammonium nitrate it is positive value. So dissolution of ammonium nitrate in water is endothermic. Okay. Now what are the different ways of expressing concentrations of solutions? Now see, very first is mass percentage. It is just like we calculate our percentage of marks, that how many marks are obtained divided by total marks multiplied by 100. Similarly, if we have to calculate the mass percentage of A in a solution, then what is the mass of A in that solution? That will be divided by total mass of solution multiplied by 100. So we will get the mass percentage. Similarly, there are two terms, ppm parts per million, ppb parts per billion. So percentage means out of 100 how many are present, ppm means out of 1 million how many are present, and ppb means out of 1 billion how many are present. 1 billion means 10 lakh, 1 billion means 10 crores. Okay, so 10 lakh means 10 raised to power 6, 10 crore means 10 raised to power 9. So just like in percentage we do multiplication with 100, here we will doing multiplication with 1 million or 1 billion, depends on we are calculating ppm or we are calculating ppb. Okay, the same way we have to calculate. Now next important is mole fraction. So in mole fraction we take the ratio of moles, that component for which mole fraction is to be calculated, how many moles are there of that component divided by total moles in the solution. Okay, so suppose it is a binary solution, then only two components are there, solute and solvent. Then how can we calculate the mole fraction of solute? Let us suppose A is the solute, then total number of moles of solute divided by total number of moles of solution. Now solution is having two things, so their total we have to take, and this way we will get the mole fraction value. Okay, so this is mole fraction. Next is molarity. Now see, the definition says it is the number of moles of solute dissolved per liter of the solution. Okay, so its units will be mole per liter. These will be the units. Okay, now in 11th standard also you have studied this thing. Now since we are using volumes and volume always changes, so we can say molarity depends on volume, which can change, so it is temperature dependent. Now let us talk about molality. Molality is number of moles of solute dissolved per kg of the solvent. Now see, in this case mass is involved. Okay, mass of solvent is involved. Okay, so this is not temperature dependent. So one question is asked many times, out of molarity and molality which is preferred? So what we will say, molality is preferred because it is more stable. Now we have studied these all different formulas. If we want to calculate ppm, ppb or mass percentage, then what we are using? We are using mass. Okay, if we have to calculate molarity, then what we are using? What will be the units? Moles per moles and moles, means it is for mole fraction. If we are calculating mole fraction, then it is moles divided by moles. So there will be no units. For mole fraction there are no units, and for molarity units are moles per liter. Similarly, for molality we are dividing moles by mass. Now what happens whenever we determine molarity? Suppose molarity is 1, then we write it like this, 1 capital M, and we will read it as 1 molar. Similarly, if molarity we have calculated and it is 1, then we will write like this, 1 small m, it is 1 molal. Okay, now if suppose in the data density is given, then molality as well as molarity both can be calculated. Now see, we will be given mass of solvent. Okay, now from the mass of solute, by using molecular mass of solute, we can calculate the number of moles of solute. Now see, if density is given and out of mass or volume one thing is given, then other can be calculated. Okay, now if we want to calculate molarity, then what we have to do? Number of moles divided by volume of solution. For molarity, number of moles divided by volume of solution, and for molality, number of moles divided by mass of solvent. So both can be easily calculated. Now let us solve these two examples. One example is there having two portions. So first is a solution is made by dissolving 13.5 gram of glucose in 0.100 kg of water. What is the mass percentage of solute in this solution? Okay, so for this particular part, what is given to us? We are given number of grams of solute. Okay, now number of grams of solvent, this is also given. From this, mass percentage of solute is to be calculated. Now we will be using the simple formula, mass of glucose over mass of solution multiplied by 100. So these two values are given to us separately, so it comes out to be 11.9%. Now second part is a 25 gram sample of groundwater was found to contain 5.4. okay, here something is missing. It is 5.4 into 10 raised to power, okay, this is symbolic, which is 5.4 microgram. Micro stands for, this is symbol of micro, and this is equal to 10 raised to power minus 6. So here it is 5.4 into 10 raised to power minus 6. It is written 5.4 microgram of zinc. What is the concentration of zinc in parts per million. So 1 microgram is 10 raised to power minus 6 gram. So 5.4 microgram will be 5.4 into 10 raised to power minus 6. So ppm is equal to mass of solute over mass of solution into 10 raised to power 6. So we can calculate, it will come out to be 2.2 ppm. Okay. Now this is the homework for you on the basis of whatever we have studied today. Did you do it?